Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I am doing this one looking a little bit disheveled, but that's okay. I have some kid-free time and I really needed to get this filmed. Today's video is going to be a little bit different to how I usually do this because it is also a wrap-up of 2024 in regards to reads. So I am going to divide the video into two parts, so you will see, I will put up a screen to say part 1 and part 2. If you're not interested in part 1 or you're not interested in part 2, you'll be able to skip. So part 1, I am going to be doing a review of the books that I read in December, which is all of these ones, and then part 2 is going to be a little wrap up of my best reads of 2024. So let's just get on to book 1. I have got the books here in order that I read them throughout the month, and I also really liked the style how I did November's with comparing my rating to Goodreads based on the books that I've read. So I am going to continue that in this video today as well. So first off, just a little bit of stats about the books that I've read this month. 1, 2, 3, 4 4-star books, 2 3-star books, and a 2.5 star. So 7 books in total. Let's just get straight into it with the first book that I read, which was Lied by Belle Cabra. This book is all about Summer and Aiden. Summer is working really hard in her studies, and a part that she has to do is a research project, and she is doing it on Aiden, who is the ice hockey captain. Now, she hates ice hockey, which you find out because of her daddy issues. She hates everything about hockey because it took her dad away from her pretty much. But Aiden is hockey captain. He's really like laissez-faire, really like go with the flow, whereas Summer's really like this is scheduled, this is timed, da 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 da. They're just polar opposites in that way. Anyway, they end up working together on this project. She studies Aiden and they obviously have to spend a lot of time together. Things happen and you'll see, but this seriously gave me all the icebreaker vibe, but it was also very different in a way. I don't know why so many romances at the moment, especially sports romances, are all ice hockey. I did like it. I rated this book a 4 and Goodreads rates it a 3.80 flat. Next up was Hopeless by Elsie Silver. I finally wrapped up the Chestnut Spring series. I was putting this off. I really wanted to keep reading because I just love this world. I'm obsessed with this family and the characters and the setting, and yeah, I just absolutely love this world. Elsie Silver just absolutely nailed it. So Chestnut Spring series is now complete. This is the final 5th book of that series, and it follows Bo and Bailey. Both come from very different, not even going to say backgrounds because they're literally neighbors, but a lot of different upbringing, if that makes sense, and life experience. This is an age gap romance between these two. Bo is ex-military. He had to retire due to injuries, and Bailey saving up working in a bar to get out of town because of her family. Her dad had been in prison, in and out of prison, and her brothers are drunks, drugs, like just, yeah, she is just trying to make a life for herself, but everyone just shames her because of her last name. So she's working her butt off trying to save up money to get out of town. She ends up doing a whole fake dating thing with Bo, fake engagement should I say, so that she is now going to be eaten, which is pretty much the town royalty in this series. They put their minds together and it's like, oh, if I'm an Eaton, then people will back off. This is just a story about that. They obviously fall for each other, and I did really like this one. I rated it a 4 stars, and Goodreads rates this a 4.11. Next book I read was Crossroads by Devney Perry. This is my first Devney Perry book. It is quite a little short book. I did really like it. This is Haven River Ranch series. I haven't yet got my hands on book 2. It's such a short book and I don't know how they fit so much into this book. Just feel like there was always something happening and something, yeah, I don't know. I really love this book. It's such a nice, quick, easy read. Cowboy romance, right up my alley. I rated this a 4 star and Goodreads rated it a 4.16. Interesting, that's rated higher than Elsie Silver. The next book that I read was my first Hannah Bonham Young book, Next of Kin. This book is about Warren and Chloe. They have both been brought up in the foster system, and they both have, well, Warren has a younger death brother who he is trying to get custody of. Chloe finds out that her mum, who is heavily into drugs, has had another baby unexpectedly that she didn't even know about. about, and she has put Chloe forward to be the mother and sign all the papers to, you know, adopt her and for her to bring her up. There's criteria with justice system that there's like a new program that if one person can't financially provide for the children but they've got the house, if the other person fits the other half of that criteria, they've got the money but they don't have the house, then they kind of can submerge and take care of their siblings together under the same roof. That's what's happened here. I just found that dynamic very, very interesting because I haven't heard of something like that before. I have no idea about social services and that sort of stuff. I just found this such a nice, refreshing read, and just seeing the different ins and outs of the way that a family can come together and couple can come together. So yeah, I did find this really interesting. I did really, really enjoy it. It was so refreshing to read something just so different that I've never read before. So I rated this a 4 as well, and Goodreads rated it a 3.79. The next book I read, I was starting to get into the Christmas spirit, and I read The Christmas Tree Farm by Laurie Gilmore. Now this is a book, a part of a series, Cinnamon Bun Bookstore I think, and Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I think they're the other two before these ones. I haven't read them. I just wanted a nice Christmas book, so I thought I'll just jump into this. So it is book 3 in a series. This book is about Kira and Bennett. Kira has a very wealthy family and she wants to go against the grain and go out on her own and make something for herself. She buys a Christmas tree farm that has been abandoned in Dream Harbour. Bennett is there on vacation doing work from home, visiting his sister who also lives in the town. I'm pretty sure she's the cafe owner from memory. Kira herself doesn't actually like Christmas that much, and yet she's bought a Christmas tree farm. And anyway, these two run into each other. They end up actually getting trapped in a snowstorm and things get hot and heavy and form feelings for each other, and didn't really love it too much if I'm being honest, and I rated it a 2.5. Goodreads rates it a 3.67. The next book that I read was a novel love story by Ashley Poston. This book has been hyped and hyped and hyped everywhere over Book Talk, BookTube, everywhere. I fell into the trap of buying it and reading it, and I didn't love it. I honestly didn't love it. It kind of pains me to say when I'm going against the grain because so many people do love it and enjoy it. It is a quick, easy read. It's interesting to see the way that they kind of form it. Eileen, the main female character, she ends up in a town when her car broke down, which is actually a fictional town and part of a book. All the people that she meets there and interacts with are characters from the book, and she's working it out because it's actually her favorite book, and she just magically ends up there. Everyone is in the books bar one character, and that's the bookstore owner, Frankie bookstore owner, called Anders. I'm not going to spoil the book. I just felt like the relationship towards the end was really forced and really quick after it is a big slow burn. So I rated this book a 3 and Goodreads rates it a 3.66. Final book that I read of December was The Christmas Fix by Lucy Score. I rated this book a 3 and Goodreads rates it a 3.92. Now this book is about a single dad, Noah, town manager in Merry, fitting name for a Christmas book that the town's called Merry. A lot of damage is done to the town and houses, and Kat King is the female main character. She's actually a TV star and she is a part of a renovation TV series. So she actually did a house for a family in the town prior to this hurricane happening. She goes there because they are actually her friends as well. So she goes there to help and see the damage and whatnot, and she takes a camera with her and she actually gets on a speedboat and she's pulling people out of the water. One of them people turns out to be Noah, the town manager. He has no idea who she is at the time, even though she has been calling him and trying to get him to do a TV show there again. They have this banter, like they're just constantly at each other. When she first comes to town, he finds out that she's the one that saved his life, and things just kind of go from there. I did like this book a lot better than the other Christmas book, The Christmas Tree Farm, and I rated this one a 3. Goodreads rated it a 3.92. These books here are a wrap on 2024 reads. Now I am going to go and get my books that were 5 stars. I hope I have them all because I have lent them out to people, but I'm going to go and get all the books that were 5 stars. So part 2 is starting now. Alrighty, so I don't have all the books here with me. There is 2 of them that I have lent out. In total, I had 9 5-star reads out of 47 books. First one is actually that I'm also doing them in order that I read them, so from January, December. First book of the year that was a 5-star read for me is one that I don't have here, and that is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This was my first kind of taste in the fantasy world, and I just absolutely loved it. I definitely am a romantasy type of girl, but are we all awaiting January 26th when the 3rd book of the series comes out, because I am. Iron Flame, which is the second book in the series, also was so close to being a 5-star for me, but I think it was the length that just threw me off. It was a long book. I absolutely loved it. If you haven't read it or you haven't read any fantasy before and you're wanting to dabble, like I said, I'm definitely a romantasy type of girl, and this one just ticked all the criteria. So that was my first 5-star read. My second 5-star read for the year was Daisy Hates the Great Undoing by Jessa Hastings. Now this is a part of the Magnolia Parks universe series. You will see when you read it, it's kind of in tandem. So they do a Magnolia book, then they do a Daisy book, then they do a Magnolia book, then they do a Daisy book, and then they do a Magnolia book, and that's where we're at the moment. So there is another Daisy book coming. This is the second Daisy book, but the 4th book in the series. So I just love Christian and I love Daisy, and this book just did everything for me. We also got to see much more bigger insight into Julian Hates, which is Daisy's older brother, Mafia King, Mafia Boss. I did like Magnolia a little bit more in this book because she was with Julian. So the whole Julian thing and some of the things that he's saying and finding out his way of thinking and dealing with that, along with the Daisy story of her and Christian in this book, I did really like it. So I am buying for the next Daisy Hates book. You watch me run to the bookshop whenever that comes out. The next book that was a 5-star read for me was something that was really different. I haven't read this type of book before, and that was Too Late by Colleen Hoover. This book is about the female main character Sloane, who is with Asa. He is a drug trafficker and a really bad person. She is kind of staying with him. She's pretending to be in a relationship when she just wants to get out. She wants to leave. She hates it, but she gets a roof over her head and she doesn't have to worry about anything while she gets herself through college, should I say. She's definitely financially reliant on the relationship to be able to survive, to work her way through. There's an undercover agent. What was his name again? Carter. Yeah, Carter. He is trying to bust Asa and pretends to be in his crew and work for him and whatnot. Anyway, Asa's all over the shop. Like, he's psychotic. You just never know which version you're going to get of him, and I would guess that comes with everything that kind of comes in the book. But the ending, like, it just keeps you on your toes. Like, I could not put this down. I think I read this in a day. So yeah, that was another 5-star read for me. The next book that was a 5-star read for me is one that I don't have here, and it's lent out to a friend. That is Twisted Lies by Anna Huang. I think that's how you say her last name, and that is part of the Twisted series, and it's the 4th and final book in that series. Christian as the main character, which you see he's kind of introduced in the other books, and in all the other books in the lead up, like, I was just dying for his story, and he finally got it. I love the dynamic and I love the way that it progressed. Again, it's a romance, but it just felt really different, and that was one reason why that was another 5-star for me. Then I finally bit the bullet and read another fantasy series after I finished Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, and I thought, oh, this book's really hyped as well and people talk really high of it, and I'll give it a go. And I got the hype, and it is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. All I can say is Kai and Payton are the main characters. They are taking part in the purging trials. Kai is the enforcer, which pretty much means he is under King's orders to go and either kill people. Pretty much their society, it's like the elites versus the ordinaries, and ordinaries need to be banished. Everyone's got like powers and that sort of stuff, and if you're an ordinary, you don't have any. They gotta go, apparently. Payton is actually an ordinary, and she poses as a psychic because her father actually trained her to be able to read people's behaviors, and in doing that, she forms this really strong and convincing ability as a psychic, and she gets picked to do the purging trials. The ending it just keeps you on your toes. I really did love the dynamic of Kai and Payton as well. And then I got introduced to the Elsie Silver world. Yeah, 3 out of these 4 books are Elsie Silver books from the Chestnut Spring series. The first one, it just rocked my socks and kicked off my absolute love of cowboy romance. Flawless, the first book in the series. This follows Summer and Brett. I'm not going to talk too much about them because I've probably already talked about them heaps, and all I can say is you need to read this series. I have had so many people in the second half of this year wanting to start reading and asking me, oh, what should I read or what should I read? I recommend this book every single time because I want them to read the series. This is the first book of the series, and this is my first out of 3 5 stars for that series. And then the next 5-star that I read after that, yet again, Elsie Silver. This is Heartless, and this is the second book in the series, and this follows Willa and Cade. Willa, she's my girl. I just love her. If you've read this book, I just resonate with her so much. She just seems like my vibe. I just love her. I love everything about her as a female main character, and I just love that she brings out this gentle, caring side in such a grumpy, protective father in Cade. Love their relationship, love their dynamic, love the storyline of this, of how things progress. Love her nurturing side to just automatically pick up. He is hired as a nanny, but she just mothers that boy, and she's so protective and so in love with him just instantly, and it just melts my heart, this book. I only got 2 more 5 stars left, and the next one that I read after Heartless was Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, and this was my first Abby Jimenez read. It is a standalone connected series. It follows Alexis. She's an ER doctor in a family of surgeons. There's always someone from her family working at the hospital that she works at. She's on her way back from a funeral, and she ran into a raccoon or something run out in front of her from memory, and yeah, one of the town locals from where she stopped come and helped her get out of the ditch and pulled the car back up, and she went into the town. She ended up going back in there, having a one-night stand with this man. They're like opposites because she's this city girl, glitz and glam, and pretty much her ex cheated on her with one of her friends, and still living together, and there's custody over like the house. Daniel is a legacy, I guess, in his small town as well. There is always a Grant, which his last name. There's always someone from the Grant family as the town mayor, and now it's his turn also. It's like city girl, country boy, and he runs like a bed and breakfast, and he's also a carpenter, and yeah, she just has this interest, and she keeps going back to town and visiting. Yeah, they end up falling in love, and I just really love this book. I do. This is another one that I would probably recommend to a lot of people if they are. It's a nice, easy romance that can get me into reading. This is the book for you to pick up. Final 5-star read of 2024, which you can guess it. I'm sure you can guess it. Reckless by Elsie Silver. Book number 4 in the Chestnut Spring series. This book follows Winter. She has a one-night stand with Theo, gets unexpectedly pregnant. He doesn't know, even though she's tried to contact him and she thinks that he's responded. There's this whole issue with his phone. Funnily enough, rents the house, which is right next door to Winter's, and sees that she has a baby and is connecting the dots. She thinks she's joking because she thinks that, you know, she's messaged him and told him, and he's just chosen not to be a part of it, where he's really wanted to be a part of it and he's missed out on so much, and he hates that he has missed out on so much. And this is just their story and about them working together as co-parenting, but also the fact they have feelings and trying to work through that, see where they can fit as a family. I couldn't fold it. Again, I could not put it down. I think I read it in less than 24 hours. I think I read this book I think it was October that I read it, and I haven't had a 5-star read since, so it's set the bar high. I am so excited to have started January read. Today's the 2nd of January and I am already 20% through my first book, so I'm getting there. I've started setting up my bookshelf, but I do have a lot of books that I have lent out at the moment, so it just feels really weird. I have also had a lot of fun at Christmas shopping. I got a lot of money and vouchers for book shopping, and I've done it. I've bought over 20 books. So excited for this year of reading, and I'm still trying to figure out what my goal would be for this year for reading. The 2024 reading challenge that I did with Goodreads this year, I set a challenge for myself to read 20 books, and I read 47. Anyway, that might be in my next video, but thank you again for watching. That's a wrap on 2024 reads, and bring on 2025. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.